Hi guys, welcome to Webby On Cars. Today you join me in the 2021 Hyundai Kona Electric. We've got the Highlander specification. So I thought I'd start off by doing things a little bit differently, so we're starting inside the car for this video. If you've not seen my videos before, I basically do new car reviews here in Australia. Try and get my hands on the latest and greatest cars to obviously review for you. So if you're new to the channel, hit the subscribe button, turn on notifications, and then you'll find out every time a new car review goes live. So as I said, we've got the 2021 Hyundai Kona Electric, Highlander specification, so it's top of the range. So today we're going to go for a bit of a drive, and then I'll talk you around the spec of the car, show you what it looks like on the outside, and yeah, basically what I think to the car as an overall package. Now, Hyundai claim that you can do up to 484 kilometres from a full charge from the Kona Electric, but I've been getting around about 450, which I don't think is actually too bad. And I calculated that a full charge would actually cost about $7.50 from 0 to 100%, which I actually think is pretty reasonable. You know, to do 450 k's on $7.50, that's really cheap motoring. The bit that isn't quite so cheap about this Kona Electric is the price. There's two trim levels. You get the Elite and then the Highlander. The Elite starts at about $67,000 as a driveway price, and this Highlander is just over $71,000 to start with. So it's not exactly cheap. So you'd want to be saving some money on your fuel costs, wouldn't you, to get that to get your money back, basically. So as with all electric cars, power is instant as soon as you put your foot on the throttle. You've got three driving modes: economy, normal and sport. And if you've got it in sport mode, if you hit the throttle pedal, you know, flat out, you'll actually get wheel spin even in the dry. I think that's a combination of the amount of power going through the front wheels, plus also the tyres on this car are designed for maximum efficiency. So they're quite a hard tyre because it's designed to, you know, generate better rolling resistance for the car, to make it more efficient. The downside to that is you don't get quite so much grip because the tyres are much harder. I'd actually prefer to get some different tyres that, you know, would give you a lot more grip, particularly in, you know, the weather, for example. You know, if you get a rainy day, you want to know that your tyres are going to grip, not send you all over the road if you put your foot down a bit too enthusiastically. You know, you might lose a few kilometres of range because of that, because you're not on the most efficient tyres. But personally, I think I'd rather have a bit more grip from the front end, and yeah, lose a few k's. That's a small price to pay, I think. As you'd imagine, for a top of the range car from Hyundai, it's packed with all the equipment you'd probably ever need. On the safety front, you've got the typical autonomous braking, blind spot monitor, lane keeping aid, adaptive cruise control, front and rear parking sensors, reverse camera. You get the picture. Everything's standard. You've even got a head-up display as well. You've got a 10.25-inch digital display in front of the driver, and another 10.25-inch infotainment display as well. That gives you built-in satellite navigation, Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. But as I'll show you when we stop, you can also look at different modes for your driving style, set up your different driving modes as well, and then adjust your regenerative braking between the different modes. So it's actually quite a handy little feature. We've got leather seats as standard, as you can see. This is the lighter sort of ceramic colour, I suppose you'd call it. The seats are heated and air conditioned, great for the summer, particularly here in Australia when, you know, you can get up to 40 degrees on a summer's day. The steering wheel's heated as well, which these last few days when it's been a bit cold in the morning has been fantastic. And the good thing about electric cars over a petrol or diesel car is in the morning when you get in the car, you haven't got to wait for the engine to warm up to get heat out the heater. Because electric power is instant, the heater or the air conditioning warms up or cools down a lot quicker than a standard petrol or diesel car. And that goes for the heated seats and the heated steering wheel as well. In terms of warranty, you get the same 5-year unlimited kilometre warranty like every other Hyundai, but they then do a separate warranty just for the battery, and that gives you 8 years or 160,000 kilometres warranty purely for the battery itself. So being an electric car, it's obviously, there's no noise from the engine or anything, so it then does make you aware of how much road noise you get inside the cabin, because a lot of road surfaces are sort of fairly coarse, so you do get a lot of sort of tyre noise and road noise coming into the cabin, unless you go on like a brand new piece of road, then it's lovely and quiet. But yeah, generally you do get quite a bit of road noise and tyre noise coming to the cabin, which you might be able to hear from the camera as well. Servicing costs are a fair bit cheaper than a petrol car, as you'd imagine, being that there's less moving parts to sort of replace or repair. And Hyundai actually do a couple of service packages as well, and I'll put the details on the screen for you. The seats are really comfortable in here, but also the driving position is really good as well. Being slightly higher up, because it's an SUV, you get a really good view of the road ahead. Your visibility to the side and the back is pretty good too. And you've got that head-up display that I mentioned earlier, so you can see all your information on there, like your speedo, sat-nav directions, what music you might be listening to. So it's actually a really easy car to drive. So now we've actually come to a nice place to do a bit of filming. So I'm going to jump out of the car and show you around the outside, and then also talk to you about some of the features as well. So the exterior styling has changed a bit for 2021. On last year's model, the front grille had this kind of cheese grater effect, I suppose you'd call it. It looked like lots of little holes. So they've smoothed off the front of the car this year. The only downside to me personally is that the flap for charging is right at the front. I think it would have been better if they put it on the side, which I think would have looked a little bit better in terms of just a one-piece finish. But other than that, it's actually quite a nice design. In terms of lighting, being this is the Highlander model, we've got the daytime running lights at the top, which switch over to become your indicators when obviously you put your indicators on. And then you've got the LED headlights just down the bottom here. This colour is called Surfy Blue. There's a couple of different colours you can choose from. This is quite a nice one. It's actually a metallic finish. You can't tell until you get it in sunlight like today, but there's actually quite a lot of metallic fleck in the paint. So it's actually quite nice on a day like today. This car's got the black roof, which is an alternative to having the sunroof. So you can either have the factory fitted sunroof or the black roof. It's a shame you can't have both, because obviously having both would be quite nice, because this black roof contrasts really well against the blue paintwork. I actually quite like it as a combination. So as you can imagine, on a car costing this much money, we've got keyless entry to start with, obviously push button start as well. When we come inside, we've got these beautiful leather seats, which are fully electric down there as well, including lumbar support on the driver's side. Full leather steering wheel with all your buttons and controls for your audio system and your safety systems there on the right hand side. We've got a Harman Kardon sound system, which you would think would normally be pretty good, but in practice it's okay. It's not the best sound system I've ever heard in a car. So coming to the dashboard, there's a 10.25 inch digital display that I mentioned to you earlier in the video. It's really nice and clear to see. Obviously speedo to the left, your power meter over to the right hand side, so you can see whether you're using power or putting charge back into the battery. And that middle section, you can actually change what you see in that bit there. I've currently got it on energy flow, so you can see when you're taking power out of the battery, but you can also see when you're putting power back into the battery. Just a little bit of a game to play while you're driving along, I suppose. If you look at the bottom part of the screen there, you can actually see I've been averaging 16.7 kilowatts per 100 kilometers. So that's how much power it uses to drive 100 kilometers. So it's actually not too bad, all things considered. We come over here, we've then got the 10.25 inch display, which is your sat nav, your Apple CarPlay, your Android Auto. There's quite a lot of functionality on here that's unique because this is the electric model. So if we just go on to the home screen and we pop into the EV mode, so here you can see different information about the battery itself. So you can see over here, maximum amount you can put in there is obviously 100%. I'm currently at 94%, so there's plenty of charge in the battery at the minute. But this section over here, if you click on there, you can actually get a list of all the local charging places where you can actually go and charge your car up. So it tells you what type of charger it is, and then you can actually click on the individual sort of list of chargers and go into the one you want to choose. So it tells you exactly where the charging place is, gives you the address, but also tells you what type of charging outlet it is as well, so you know if it's going to be suitable for your car. Coming slightly further down the dashboard, you've then just got your controls for your air conditioning and climate control. And there's actually quite a neat feature which does just the driver only. I'm assuming that's to try and save a little bit of battery power, but actually quite a neat little feature that I've never seen on any car before. Just below that, under here, we've actually got a wireless charging pad. We've also got a USB in there as well. And I think it's a bit of a shame that you don't get wireless Apple CarPlay, because you'd then be able to make use of that wireless charging pad. Then we come down to the gear selector, and as you can see, that's pretty easy. That's nice and simple to understand. You've then got an electric handbrake as well. And then these is where you get all the goodies. So you've got heated and ventilated seats for driver and passenger. We've got the driving mode that I mentioned earlier, so you can go between economy, normal and sport. On this Highlander model, we've also got a heated steering wheel, which the last few mornings here in Melbourne, where it's been a bit cold, has been absolutely fantastic. You've then got an automatic hold function for your electric handbrake, and then it allows you to switch between the different views on the front and rear cameras. So as you can see, the general layout here inside the Kona is actually really sort of nice and clear. Everything is laid out nicely, nothing sort of too confusing with too many buttons. It's actually quite a nice interior, and it doesn't feel like an electric car, which is good. Now if you're short like me, I'm only 5'6", space in the back isn't actually too bad. I've got the front driving seat in my position, so that's exactly where I'd have it. So the leg room actually isn't too bad, but you can't actually get your feet under the driver's seat, which for someone who might be a bit taller than me might be a bit of a struggle, because you'd probably want to stretch your legs out on a long journey. You do get a really nice feature here in the back though. The outer two passengers actually get heated rear seats, which for this size of car is quite unusual to get. Even on bigger cars you don't normally get heated rear seats. Headroom is actually pretty good. This car hasn't got the sunroof, so I don't know whether having the factory fitted sunroof would encroach on a bit of headroom. But yeah, without the sunroof it's perfectly fine. One thing I would have liked to have seen would actually been some rear air vents, because then you're relying on the air conditioning coming through from the front of the car to cool down the passengers in the back. So that's probably a little bit of an oversight on a car that costs this amount of money. You only get one USB port down here to share between the rear passengers, which again feels a little bit stingy on a car of this sort of value. It would have been nice to have at least seen sort of one each for the for two passengers in the back, to sort of try and share. But you do get some sort of averagely sized door pockets, so you do get these nets on the back of the front seats. And then of course we've got the fold down armrest with a couple of cup holders in here as well, which is quite nice. Outer rear seats get the ISOFIX child point settings, so you can actually attach your child seats in there as well. But there's not a massive amount of space back here, but it is a small city SUV, so it's not like it's a main family car for a lot of people. The rear styling is also quite nice as well. The rear tailgate isn't electric, which I'd have thought for a car that costs best part of $72,000, you'd have an electric tailgate at least. But hey ho, you can't have everything, I guess. Boot size isn't too bad. You lose a little bit of boot space because obviously the sort of batteries underneath the car. You don't get a spare wheel, you just get one of these sort of tyre inflation kits. But underneath the boot floor, you've actually got the charging cable under there in this nice little round sort of box. So that's sort of quite neat and hidden away. But yeah, you've got like a little luggage net there as well. You can fold your seats down like normally in every other sort of hatchback or mini SUV. So it's actually fairly practical. I did manage to get a suitcase and a holder in here as well the other day. So I'll overlay a bit of footage for that so you can actually see how much room you can get in here. So that brings us to an end to the video for this 2021 Hyundai Kona Electric Highlander. I hope you've enjoyed it. I've certainly enjoyed my week living with the car. It's been interesting to see what it's like to live with an electric car full time. So yeah, it's been a really good exercise from that point of view. If you've enjoyed the video, obviously please give it a like. It helps YouTube recommend the video to other people and obviously make the channel grow as well. If you subscribe to the channel, don't forget to hit the notification bell to find out when the next review goes live. There's plenty more cars coming for the rest of this year, so hit that bell to find out when the next one goes live. So thanks for joining me today. I hope you've really enjoyed it. If you've got any questions or comments, please leave them in the comments section for me below, and I'll come back to you as soon as I can. In the meantime, thanks for watching, and I look forward to seeing you all in the next one.